Welcome to the special public meeting of November 17, 2025 of the Township Council of the Township of Washington. Adequate notice of this meeting was given to at least in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act by the Township Clerk to at least 2 newspapers on November 13, 2025, and this meeting has been posted on the Township Bulletin Board, electronic message board, WCTV, and on the Township website. Please notify the municipal clerk for any disability requirements necessary for attendance at Township Council meetings. Fire exits are located through the double doors to your right and through the door on your left. Please silence all cell phones at this time. If you are unable to attend the council meeting in person and would like a topic to be addressed at a meeting, please send email to the Township of Washington. Contact all council members at once, twpofwashington.us. Bless you. Salute to the flag. Could everyone please stand for a salute to the flag?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Councilman Casio. Councilman Sears.
Here.
Councilman Allman.
Here.
Councilwoman Velez.
Here.
Council President DeSantis.
Here. Let the record reflect also in attendance Mayor Calamari, Township Attorney Mrs. Bailey, and Assistant to the Clerk Cornelia Lisa. At this time, we do have a motion to open the meeting to the public comment period.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Would anybody like to come up and address the council at this time? Mr. Stickle raised his hand first. I'll go in order as much as I can. Good evening, Mr. Stickle.
Good evening. Bob Stickle, 191 Walnut Street, Township of Washington, New Jersey. I got 2 things I'd like to speak on tonight. So
Sure.
I'm going to speak on them all. I have some questions, but so I can get through them in 5 minutes. I just want to start by saying I'm strongly pro-emergency services. We have a great police department, fantastic volunteer fire department, and EMS. I served as a volunteer EMT, and I spent 34 years running a CPR and AED training business, and I understand this work. I respect the people who do it, and I know exactly what proper emergency response standards look like. And a 34-minute response time for an unconscious 3-year-old is not a delay. It's a complete system failure, and it's a crisis. At the last council meeting, it was mentioned that you would be meeting with the family. Respectfully, this is not where the focus needs to be. The family already submitted a detailed letter to the council president, and the father has stood right here and spoke at a previous meeting, and they've been more than clear. They should not have to keep repeating the trauma of waiting 34 minutes for an ambulance. I want to thank the Township of Washington Volunteer Ambulance and their members for all they do. But the meeting that urgently needs to happen with the Township of Washington is with the Township of Washington Volunteer Ambulance Corps, not with the family. We need a direct and honest discussion about staffing, response gaps, coverage, reliability, and what must change immediately. The 34-minute response time in this community is simply unacceptable. And we need answers about the taxpayer-funded EMS study for Pascack Valley. Where is it? What did it recommend? And why are we not acting on it, especially now? This is not about blaming volunteers. This is about accountability, transparency, and fixing a system that clearly failed when a child's life depended on it. If it will help move this forward, I'm willing to volunteer my time as a liaison to help bridge communication, review procedures, and ensure this never happens again. We really do need answers, and we need action now. The next thing is basically on Bethany. It was on the agenda last week for a final vote. I'm assuming that a 2-to-1 vote in favor is not sufficient to pass. Why did our attorney not provide guidance during last week's meeting? Why is the attorney saying she doesn't know regarding key legal issues? Why would the township spend approximately $58,000 worth of improvements to Bethany's property without a signed lease in place? That makes no sense. I don't know anybody who would make improvements when you don't have a signed lease. Why would that be allowed? What safeguards are in place if Bethany changes their mind? How can taxpayer money be protected in this situation? Once the DPW completes its work, the work up here for the building, there reportedly will be insufficient space for town hall to store equipment up here. So this may necessitate continued lease at OLGC, which represents a significant cost to our taxpayers. You know, what happens if OLGC property is sold? I know we don't know that yet, but there's been a lot of talk of OLGC and St. John's and St. Andrews all combining. That property there is valuable to some developer. How would the township handle storage in that scenario? It was mentioned that since the township expected open space funding for the pool, vehicles cannot be parked there. Could the township have subdivided the property before accepting the open space funds to allow parking? Again, I guess my question is, why would the attorney allow improvements on property for which a lease has not been signed? And repeated statements at meetings she does not know are concerning when taxpayer funds and long-term agreements are involved. There's significant concern about proceeding with improvements and ongoing leasing arrangements without formal agreements in place. This may risk taxpayer money and create future operational challenges. Clear guidance is needed from the attorney and the township leadership before continue with any expenditures or lease commitments. That's all I have to say. So.
Thank you, Mr. Stickle. I'm in total agreement with you about the ambulance car. I don't want to place blame on anybody at this point. I want to know why it happened, and I've been asking since the parents of this child hopefully is in good spirits right now. I want to know where the communication failed and why we waited 38 minutes. They said the PD did a beautiful job, assisting them because they were the first on scene within minutes. But why the breakdown of 38 minutes? I've been trying to ask that question. Hopefully, the mayor can facilitate a meeting with the ambulance corps to get that answer, which we don't have right now, which we've been asking for.
Yeah, I think it's more than just facilitate a meeting. We got to come up with a plan.
I agreed,
If
but
any of us is not breathing 38 minutes, you'll be going to a funeral. And now that this has been brought to the town council, volunteers cannot be held liable in the state of New Jersey unless it's no gross negligence. But I'll tell you what, there's a ton of attorneys that are going to take this case to come after town because we have knowledge if it's not working. And I'm here to make it work.
I appreciate your
I want to see happen.
offer, and hopefully we can get an answer and we'll proceed with a remedy to solve the problem. Thank you. Secondly, Mr. Mayor, do you want to respond to any of Mr. Stickle's questions at this time regarding the Bethany?
I'd rather, if it's okay, I'm taking notes now and respond at the end because I don't want to delay. There's a lot of people here who probably want to speak, and I don't want to deny them the chance to speak. So if it's okay, Mike, maybe we can answer all the questions at the end.
That's how you choose, yeah.
I
I don't have the answers for Mr.
Does the
Stickle.
attorney have any response why we would sign a lease and make improvements?
Bailey,
Not sign a lease and make improvements?
I'll direct, however the council president.
Yeah, if you'd like to,
wants
if you could
proceed.
respond.
This is the process. This is the introduction of the ordinance. The public hearing and the evidential hearing on the ordinance is going to be December 2nd. The lease itself is not effective at this time.
So why would you make improvements on property that we don't have a lease on? We spent $58,000. It's paved, there's a new gate in, there's that black tar bump.
I do know Mr. DiCarlo will be here at the public hearing on December 2nd to answer all questions
Well,
about.
that's great. I'll be in Phoenix, so. I'm asking you as an attorney, why would you allow that?
The public hearing is December 2nd. and
So
all of
you
those
don't know why we
questions-
spent $58,000?
We
I-
can't, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to give you all a chance to speak, but we can't just scream at them.
So you think what you did is legal, is what you're saying? To
What-
make improvements on a property we don't own?
Sir, I would like to confer with Mr. DiCarlo and answer
I
all
bet
of the
you would.
questions that we hear tonight.
Maybe
At
you
the
should
proper
confer with
forum,
someone.
there are people that may not be here, sir, that are hearing that this ordinance is here for introduction and that the public hearing will be held on December 2nd. It's not appropriate, it's not evidential, it's not the record for the ordinance tonight. I'm
I'm not
here, I will
asking
write
about-
everything down and we'll be
You
prepared to answer
keep,
every
you keep saying
question.
about the ordinance. I'm not asking about the ordinance. I'm asking you about $58,000 of our tax money that was spent on a property we have no lease on. That's the question. It has nothing to do with the ordinance tonight that we're doing over because the vote was no good last week because you didn't have enough people here. That's the question. I'm not asking about the ordinance. I'm asking why we would do $58,000 of improvements on property we don't own or have a lease on. Makes no sense to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Stickle. And then you're next, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Larry Smythe, 266 Woodfield. Mr. Mayor, I got a question. You mentioned in the Pascack Valley article that it is essential to note that the site will not be used just for parking, but leaf transfer and other related activities to take place. Could you clarify the other related activities and the leaf transfer? I just want to see if this article is correct, and what did you mean by that?
Just give me 1 second, I'm sorry. I mean, Mike, would you like me to answer questions as they're coming up?
It's up to you. If you want to wait till the end, I can't, I don't know if you, I can't answer it, so.
Well, I'm reading something that was quoted in the press. I don't know if this is
Right,
accurate or not, but I'm just trying to clarify, what leaf transfer and other related activities are also going to be taken care of there.
I believe the administrator made that statement, not me, but to my knowledge, leaf transfer means we're in the middle of leaf season right now. Sometimes when the trucks come back, they have to transfer leaves from one truck to another. So it's not like leaves are going to be stored there or anything like that. It's just transferring them to bring them down to where we dispose of them. As far as other activities, again, I would just say other DPW-related activities, just that come up. I can't think of any one or two in particular. I'm sure the administrator probably meant just, minor things as the course of DPW.
Has anybody brought up the concern over vermin, rodents at the spot there? Is this going to be secure? Are there going to be cameras there? Are there going to be lights at night that may disturb the neighbors that are real close? And how is this going to impact the creek that's bordered on the large side of this property? And the smell from the trucks?
Okay. Again,
I can, based on what was said at the previous meeting, Mr. Schneider, the household garbage pickup will occur here on Saturdays in this parking lot here. It will not occur. So no activities will occur at the Bethany, as per Mr. DiCarlo at the last meeting. So the cars will not be going in and out of the site on a Saturday and a Tuesday to drop off anything at the Bethany. The only thing that will be there is the physical trucks and the equipment. So I don't know if that answers your one question.
No, it doesn't. I'm just concerned about the vermin.
The vermin, I don't know what was
What's
discussed.
planned for that?
I don't know what they have planned for that. I do not know.
to be honest, you're probably the first one who brought it up. We will have our pest control place that does all of the town facilities.
Do you know who you use?
I'd rather not say their name in public, but it's the one that the town uses for here, for all of our parks and fields. So we will contract with them to add that on.
The reason being is this time of year, when you talk about leaf transfer, people throw pumpkins and plants out there. That's a food source for squirrels and for vermin.
Mhm. Well, again, like I said, we won't be storing any leaves there. It's just a transfer from truck to truck to bring them down to where they go. Worst case is they're in a garbage truck one night if we don't have a full truck to go down.
And the related activities there?
Like I said, just DPW activities. I'm not in a position to say what they all are. I think leaf transfer is probably the biggest. And like I said, that's just moving them from truck to truck.
Under New Jersey municipal law, use land. What about safeguarding the creek that's right there from related activities, which you're not sure about?
Well, what I can tell you is there won't be any hazardous material stored on that site. Number one, DPW, even up here, does not have any hazmat materials to my knowledge. So again, we don't see an issue with the creek.
Now, this is supposed to be 18 months
Correct.
until the other work is complete. That was supposed to be a year and then 6 months buffer.
Correct.
if the work is completed sooner, would that place close down sooner? Because for my money, I'm thinking this is a done deal, it's going to happen.
Okay. So to answer your question, yes, obviously DPW workers want to get their new home as soon as possible. So there would be no reason to have them continue operating out of that property if everything here is done within the 12 months that right now is forecast.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Sure.
Ron Mortellaro, 273 Woodfield.
Good evening, Mr.
Good evening.
Mortellaro.
Is there any way we can get in writing when this deal is done, the gate is gone, the curb, the driveways, the curb is put back? Because nobody said 100% that thing is going away when it's over. I never heard any of you tell me,
I said at the last
I know you
meeting,
said it, but can we get it in writing? That when that 18 months is over, somewhere in your lease, whatever, how you do it.
I
With that,
Don't know if it's
the
in the lease,
driveway
Mr. Mayor.
itself, not just the gate. I'm talking about the,
Yeah, no, I
you know what I
agree.
mean?
Yeah,
So the curb
the
goes back
drop
on,
curb,
so they
everything's
can't
gone,
use it
yeah.
again.
Yeah.
I never heard 100% from any of you.
I
You said it, but I mean, is there a way we can get it in writing?
I believe
Because
it's in the
our
lease to
fear is
restore, I
that-
believe it's in the lease to restore
It
it back
is.
to the original
Okay.
conditions, but I haven't seen a copy of the lease, so I
Right.
can't, but I've just been verbally listening.
Oh, so that is true, 100%. It's in the lease, that thing goes away, and Bethany can't use it after this is over.
The only thing that might remain is the fence, because Bethany may want it
Yeah,
for
no, the fence,
security.
that's fine.
but-
As long as it's closed and the curb is gone, so they can't have no vehicles going in and out of there anymore. That's 100%.
What Council President said is
Okay.
correct.
That's all I wanted to hear, that's all. Because the rest of it I know is done, so.
Who,
Thank you.
Mr. Jones?
Kevin Janos, I live at 200 Devon Road. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Jones.
I'm here tonight to speak about the plan to store DPW vehicles at Bethany Church, a decision with serious implications for our community, our environment, and trust in local government. Let's start with the environmental impact. The proposed site is directly adjacent to Moosewasink Brook, which feeds directly into our lake. I estimate the brook to be about 50 feet from the parking lot. The brook is a Category 1 waterway under NJDEP standards, meaning it is especially protected for ecological, recreational, and water supply value. Category 1 waters must be shielded from any measurable degradation. Even well-maintained DPW trucks can leak small amounts of hydraulic fluid, engine oil, road salt, brake dust, and fuel vapors. Any spill or runoff could flow downstream into our lake. Now let's discuss safety concerns. The storage area is adjacent to one of our town's most heavily used pedestrian paths, which runs from Woodfield Road to Cleveland Avenue. This path is used extensively by children, seniors, walkers, runners, and cyclists every day. Introducing DPW traffic creates a clear safety conflict. Finally, I wanted to address transparency and process concerns. You're voting on this, I think, again tonight, but the driveway and fencing has been talked about and is already constructed. How is that possible? Initial discussions appear to have occurred in closed session. Why was there not any public discourse on site selection? And I'm not referring to sending of letters or canvassing the few houses within 20 feet of the driveway. This should have been a community discussion. Lack of transparency undermines trust in local government and prevents meaningful community input on a project with long-term environmental and safety impacts. So my two questions would be, was any environmental or stormwater impact assessment conducted before approving the site? And was a safety or traffic impact study completed before the site was put forth?
I don't have the answers to your questions, but maybe, I don't know if the mayor wants to write the questions down and respond later, or once he has the information. Peter? Or do you know the answers?
I mean, I'll answer as best I can. You know, may not be 100% because the administrator, he deals with day-to-day with these things. But the environmentals, we've had our town engineer review the DPW equipment and the proximity to the brook. He is satisfied that, I don't want to say everything you just mentioned, but, he is satisfied that nothing would come even near to the brook, like the things that you said. As far as safety, we will continue. We have told our DPW employees, if this happens, they know to exercise the utmost caution. They understand that they like their safety record. They have a good one. They're not looking to, make any trouble with that or anything. They understand, again, that, it is a heavily traveled area for pedestrians of all ages. And, it's utmost in their mind.
Yeah, I mean, the environment for sure, the safety issue, I have 2 young children, I live in a neighborhood, and even, years ago, as we walk past there quite often, that bend coming around Woodfield, telling my children, you gotta look. You never know when a car is gonna come by. There's no stop sign, there's nothing. So now we're gonna have big, large trucks driving by. I'm very concerned. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Mr. Romeo?
I'm just going to kind of piggyback off again. Chris Romeo, 282 Woodfield. The concerns seem to be about safety and the environment. Then why don't we just move the entrance to Pascack Road like everybody in here would like? That would make it palatable for 12 to 18 months if the entrance was not on Woodfield. Simple as that. I mean, it's not real complicated. Unfortunately, the person who would answer all the questions isn't here. But have we addressed that? Have we went back to Bethany and said, you know what, since we're giving you a lot of money and we're doing the voting there and rec is there, so we're giving you a good amount of tax money, that maybe you can concede and let the trucks go through your parking lot only at 7 to not 3:30. Tell them the same thing you told us. It's only going to be inconvenienced twice a day. And, the kids will be in school and, who's doing stuff at 7:30 in the morning? And the trucks will be very careful. They won't run anybody over. I'm just curious why that was because the last time we were here, that was a done deal. That that was a no starter for them. So then tell them, fine, thank you, and go somewhere else and give us our $58,000 back. That's taxpayer money. Since you don't have a lease for that, I'm not even going to go into that stuff. Somebody else already went into that nicely.
Would you want to answer this now, Mr. Mayor, or do you want to hold on to your
No, I can answer. Per that comment made at the last meeting by at least one and a number of people, I've started the discussion with Bethany about relooking at that part. For those of you who may not know, Bethany is gone through a little leadership change at the community center, so everything has to go higher to just the local building. So they have given me and I hope to have an update at the next meeting.
So there is a chance that you may change the entrance from Woodfield to Pascack.
All I can say is I've asked the question.
Then my follow-up question would be, when we started negotiating with them, can I ask who initiated the negotiations with Bethany to do it here?
Yes, it's my job as mayor to negotiate all the contracts.
Okay. May I ask, are you a member of the Bethany Church?
I am not.
Is anybody on the board a member of the Bethany Church?
I
And if they are they recusing themselves from this vote?
I am not a member.
I'm curious. I don't know.
Mr. Sears, would you like to answer that? You don't have to if you don't.
No, I don't.
No, I'm just curious.
You're not
I would
a
just
member?
imagine
My
that if you
religion
did,
is my
you would
religion.
recuse yourself and you wouldn't be part of the vote because that's a conflict of interest if you're a member of the Bethany establishment.
I mean, the only thing I'd like to say is, we lease land from OLGC. I am a parishioner there. At the time, it was deemed to not be a conflict because I don't benefit monetarily from just being a parishioner there.
No. I mean, I'm just curious, again, how it all got started, like with the voting.
So in our
And
form of
rec.
government, Mr. Romeo, the only person that could enter into an agreement is the mayor.
Okay,
The council cannot enter into an agreement with any individual or any entity. The only person that can negotiate these things in our form of government is the mayor. So the
Okay.
mayor has been dealing with
I
this
just-
as he has
Yeah.
with OLGC.
Yeah.
And our prior attorney did make a decision
weren't
that
doing-
even though you're a member of that organization, you could still vote on it as long as you're not being directly benefited from that stipend that they're receiving. That's the legal opinion we were given. So it's
Okay.
like if you were part of the church and you were getting a salary from them,
Right.
I would think then you couldn't
I don't
Vote on
think
it.
anybody's getting a kick.
or a member of a board.
I'm not accusing anybody.
No, but I just want
That's-
to put it out there on the record
Not
since
at
you
all.
brought it up. I just wanted to answer your question.
I just was curious how we established such a good relationship with them so fast.
Well, we've had a good relationship with them for years. We run a lot of programs there, so we've had an ongoing relationship almost since they moved into that facility. And I just want to add on to one thing that the council president said, is the council, like it's my job to negotiate agreements, and so with the council's input, I do that, because we do talk about it in closed sessions, because obviously negotiations have to be spoken about that and that. But when it's ready to come to a vote, the council authorizes me to sign the agreement.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I hope we answered some of your questions.
you did.
And one of your other comments you made, the rec program is,
No, I'm just. that's-
no, but the
you are
rec
doing
program is not a taxpayer-funded program.
Mhm.
It is funded by the individuals whose children participate. The families pay that fee.
Okay, but they're
to
still
the
making money
The
from
town
township
the
people.
town is taking in the money and.
Right.
And.
Oh, no, I don't
so
have
it's
a
not
problem.
funded by a taxpayer.
I don't
Almost
have a
like a
problem with that.
It's almost like a pass-through. I just don't want, you
Yeah,
know.
it's good land, it's
Yeah.
good stuff. No, I'm just saying that you would think since we are giving them so much business that they'd be inclined to just put this thing on PASCAC.
I wish that
That's,
was,
you know,
I hope that's the answer.
Or
at the end of the day.
say something like, well, maybe we won't use you for voting. You know, negotiate. Don't just say, oh, whatever you say is okay. That's all.
Oh, I-
And that's why I asked if anyone was a member of the Bethany Church,
Thank
because then they might not want to play hardball with them. So that was the only reason I asked that. Okay,
Thank you, Mr.
thank you.
So you're next, and then I'll go to you in the back. No, you. And then I'll just now let the gentleman in the back. You both raised, but you raised faster.
John Reutershan,
Could you just spell your last name?
Reutershan, 53 Stratford Court.
REU.
Reutershan.
Thank you.
Okay. I got three questions and then a little statement.
Sure, Mr.
Just a little background for the first one. The PASCAC Press on October 27th reported that Mayor Calamari posted on Facebook that DPW operations will happen at Bethany. But for many months, the town website said that it is strictly for vehicle storage, no operations. Then, just before this meeting, a change was made on the website, and even though it still says strictly for vehicle storage, it's changed to say only moderate DPW operations will take place, which actually contradicts strictly for vehicle storage. Originally, I was going to ask exactly what are all the DPW operations that will take place there, but no one seems to know. So let me ask this way. Other than leaf transfer, can you please name a few other types of DPW operations that normally take place at the DPW? So we have an idea of what might take place there.
Peter, would you like to answer that?
Again, like what happens up here, there's not a lot of things as far as DPW operations go. To me, DPW operations is defined as they're out in the field working on things. That's their primary job. But it's not just storing of vehicles. So it is operations, but operations as we envision it is they start their day at 7 o'clock. They pick up vehicles to go out in the field and maintain parks and fields, do pickup for the residents, things like that. They take a lunch break. They resume that operation until 3 o'clock when their day is done. They come back, because if they are on site here or there, they're not working for the residents, which is their prime job, to maintain our parks and fields and, all the things that they do. So, I didn't want to kid anyone to say it's just vehicle storage. It is not. They will start their day there every day. They will finish there every day. They might have to go back in between occasionally to pick up a different piece of equipment for a different job. That's how I define operations.
So normally at the DPW up to now, other than leaf storage, leaf transfer and recycling, which I know is not going to happen
Correct.
at Bethany.
Yes.
What are some of the other things that they do there?
Like I said, I can't think of any. I just didn't want to kid anyone to say it's just vehicle storage. But really, as I said, operations are just, they're going to start their day there, end their day there, and occasionally interchange equipment.
Mr. Mayor Calamari, can I ask, do they do vehicle maintenance
No, that is outsourced.
outsourced? And how about equipment maintenance such as small equipment, small motor maintenance and things of that nature? Would they be maintaining them at Bethany, or would they be either going to a vendor or doing it up here?
That is a combination of both. Yes, sometimes they'll, do lawnmower repair, very light repairs on something like that. But as far as any major repairs being done to the trucks or anything like that, that is outsourced 100%.
Okay. My second question, even if construction on the new DPW site is not finished in 18 months, do you all commit to removing all the DPW trucks and equipment from Bethany after 18 months? Yes or no?
Yes,
What?
I commit to removing.
How about everybody else, the mayor and council?
I mean, I'll say, I mean, if it's 2 months away, if for whatever reason the project gets stalled up here and it's 2 months away, I would hope that we could work something out with Bethany for a 2-month extension on the lease. That is not in there now. I don't want anyone to think it's in there. It's for an 18-month. But I hope you can all understand the effort, if it's not done, to move everything, find a spot and move everything out for another 2 months or something.
Suppose it's much longer than 2 months.
I'm so, well, then the builder's got some real issues, the contractor. We can sue them for liquidated damages and things like that if it takes them too long.
But what would happen? Would you continue at Bethany?
I would say that would be one option. Would we look for others? Again, it depends on how far the project is.
So in other words, this could well, depending on what happens, this could well go well past 18 months.
Well, again, the contractor has told us they expect to be done within a year. We built in a 50% cushion to that to say 18 months. Again, a lot of things would have to go wrong.
Right, but we all know
we've
that
all done
construction-
projects, yes.
For various reasons,
Right.
financing and everything else,
Correct.
construction, supply chain.
Well, I'm happy to say-
Construction often
I'm happy
runs
to say
over.
we have financed the project here, so financing.
Okay, so
will not
supply
be-
chain and other issues,
Yeah.
construction often runs over.
Right.
And you said that it could well extend the lease past 18 months. Okay, thank
I
you.
would hope to negotiate it, but it's not in there currently.
If the project's managed correctly, it should not take more than 12
It
months.
should
to
not,
build.
but the possibility has been stated. by you
Absolutely. That's why,
that it could
that's
well
why they
go
built
over.
in the 6
Okay.
months.
It could last longer, okay. This ordinance 2525 you're voting on today, it's a first reading. Does it require a second reading?
Yes,
And therefore a second public meeting?
yes,
And when will that be?
December 2nd
Okay, all right.
at
now-
7 PM. And
Okay.
you'll be able to comment during the public portion of that meeting again, to put your comments on the record. Tonight is just, we're allowing you to speak, but it's not part of the ordinance because the ordinance has to be introduced first. The next meeting on December 2nd, as we did at the previous meeting, when we opened the second reading up to the public for their comments, all those comments were put into the ordinance.
So if I wanted to get these into the record, it would be.
You have to come
it would
back
be
on
fine
December
with you if I
2nd.
came back and repeated it.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right, so finally, I'm
Excuse me,
stating
just-
that I am
Excuse me,
against
sir.
this.
I'm sorry, just
I'm
to be
sorry.
clear, any comment that anyone makes today is on the record.
Correct, but not for the ordinance.
It's just, the ordinance is going to be open for a second reading, and there's a dedicated portion, for lack of a better term,
Okay.
where you can make a comment on the ordinance. I mean, to think that this is all being said and not being recorded or acknowledged is.
But it's just not being recorded as
It's
part of the
mostly
ordinance.
Thank you, but
procedural.
thank you, yeah, and if I want it in the audience, then I come back up next time.
Yes,
Okay.
please.
So finally, I'm stating that I'm against this, and especially I'm against how you went about this. You authorized work in a closed session. You already spent over $50,000 of taxpayer money on work, and you don't even have a lease. People who were contacted have stated it was presented as a done deal. Your website all along said no DPW operations at Bethany, none. And you now make a change just before this meeting saying yes to operations. The larger community beyond 200 feet was never contacted, even though this affects them, in part if they use the adjacent walking path and roads, and definitely because these are everybody's taxpayer dollars. This was the complete opposite of transparency.
Thank you, Mr. Levy. Good evening.
Mark Levy, 219 Devon Road.
Good evening, Mr. Levy.
Good evening. So I have a couple of updates to my point that I made at the last meeting. The property currently owned by Valley National Bank. Not only does it afford us a better opportunity, but much more space than we have in this area today. So as the town grows and we're getting more residents, we'll have more needs for disposal, et cetera. This property won't even be big enough for the trucks once it's completed, right? We'll still have to pay a third-party OLGC or wherever else to store the trucks. That property has plenty of space. So I found out two things. The deal doesn't actually get exercised until the end of December. So there's nothing signed yet. That's one. Two, members of the council said that it would be tens of millions of dollars. Just a little online search, and it's 3.5 million. So let's say some developer is able to pay over that price. We're still talking $4 or $5 million. And what the attorney had said last time is that what we'll have to pay is fair value, so not over. So fair value is somewhere around 3.5 million. You know, that's what I'm getting from the different sites online. Let's say that's 10 or 20% off. We're still talking about under 5 million for a prime piece of real estate that really can hold everything we need, not just this year and next year, but for the next 15 or 20 years. So I didn't know if that changes it. My question is, with that information, does that change anything in terms of going after it and using eminent domain like they did the town I couldn't remember is Cranberry, New Jersey? Maybe if you give them a call, they could provide some advice because they were ready to foreclose on that farm, but they were stopped by the townspeople. This, you would have the townspeople behind you.
Thank you, Mr. Levy.
No, I was wondering if you could answer, does that change it? Would you look into that now?
We could ask the mayor to look into it, but I think he has,
Well-
and he's responded previously on this.
Yeah, I mean, the response mostly holds true. However, we all know that all our properties now are going through a reevaluation. That valuation of 3.5 million, if that's what it's on our tax rolls for, is obviously dated by about 10 years. We all know how the real estate has exploded. I agree it's not worth what was set up here previously, but it's worth well in excess of that 3.5 million. As far as Valley, by December 31st, I don't know where you got that information from, but that contradicts what they're telling us unofficially.
That was a correction that came from my wife.
I appreciate that.
But if in the use of eminent domain, we don't have to pay top dollar. It's a fair market price. And I think that what you had said exactly last time, if I paraphrase, is that they didn't reach out to you. They did it, behind the scenes and didn't give us a fair shake. But we do have, as a government agency, the power of eminent domain to go in there and do something like that. And other towns have done it, I'd say not as positively. This could be a really good use of it. So it's not up for consideration. Though I understand we've already got these things in motion. This building would be a great place for affordable housing, and that would be a great place for a municipal building. It looks like a town hall. You know, it's just got, it's got,
So, Mr. Levy, my tens of millions of dollars response to you is our firehouse costs $7.5 million. So if you think we're going to, I appreciate you doing all your due diligence and figuring this out. But if we think we're going to buy the Valley Bank, repurpose the building or build a new building for under $20 million, we're fooling ourselves, because the firehouse was 7.5. Our new DPW building here is 5.5 million. So we're going to be in the tens of millions of dollars to do what you're asking to do.
well,
And
if I
it's a
go with
big, we don't have access to the site. I would not be in favor of taking the site by eminent domain, because they own the site. We don't have there's nothing, there's rules about eminent domain and how we do it properly and not do it properly. And I'm not, the attorney can speak more to that. But to me, to spend, that kind of money on that site we just can't afford it.
So you're going to net out, though, the money that you get for this site that you're going to sell to contractors?
But we can't
You're
sell
gonna
public property for profit.
You can sell it for fair market value.
No, we
can't.
cannot.
So you're saying you would have,
Like, if we wanted to sell the swim club right now to a developer, we cannot, because we bought it for public purposes. This site is only allowed to remain a public purpose to the Township of Washington. So we cannot become land barons because we're the Township. When the swim club purchase was going on, this was all discussed very heavily. So we couldn't have bought the swim club and then said, hey, it's too much money for us to develop it and sell it to a developer and make a profit on it. Once we buy property and make profit as a municipality.
okay, that's disappointing that there's absolutely, and the township attorney agrees that there's absolutely nothing we can do to swap this property for that property.
This property being which?
The house, the property we're on right now, which is kind of too small for this town, voting is difficult, things like that, and moving to a much bigger site which can accommodate the entire DPW and everything else that we need, the police department, maybe even the fire department, everything eventually can be up there when it comes up over the next 10 to 20 years. That's an outstanding site. It's also entrance and exit onto the main road.
And swap it with whom?
This property,
Okay.
So
And
we sell
who would
this-
be taking this property?
we sell it to developers.
Yeah, no, I agree. I thought
That was
you-
what was told by
I thought
our
you meant
attorney
a
previously.
land exchange with Valley National.
Okay.
I thought that's what you meant.
Oh,
No,
can we do that?
I don't believe with a private developer. I'll have an answer to you. I don't believe so. I don't
Okay.
believe we can, but if there's no appetite to entertain eminent domain or this type
I
of
would not.
arrangement, yeah.
I don't know about the rest of
I'll
it.
certainly, if directed, I'll look into the more nuanced question that you're asking.
Okay, but no more consideration will be given. You mentioned, Councilman DeSena, that it's their property. So coincidentally, I have about 100 shares of Valley National stock. I'm an owner.
Oh, okay.
You could have it.
I don't want.
So I'm not sure who they are. It's a public company.
Yes,
But
but it's still their
I
property.
understand, but we haven't gone to them or the shareholders, the underlying shareholders to
Well, I
see.
believe the mayor has stated that he has reached out to them.
No, he said they didn't reach out to him.
Okay.
And they did the deal privately without consulting us, which he had asked them to when
Correct, but he did ask them
we
to.
graciously welcomed them to our town when they bought our town.
Correct.
Okay, that was,
Thank you, Mr. Levy. Go ahead.
Kathleen Zaret, 124 Woodfield.
Could you just spell your last name, please?
I was ready. Zawryt.
Thank you, Ms. Zaret.
Thank you. So piggybacking on what he said about the land exchange, I don't know if it's a completely different law or loop in the law, but for instance, when the library was remodeling and extending, because the area around the library is deemed wetlands. This goes back to Governor Christie, how long ago this is, that there was a statute for wetlands. I can't speak about eminent domain, but you could take and say, okay, well, we're going to make this piece of area, wetlands, and unbuildable, like you could do a swap and then extend to here.
Yeah.
I don't know if that could be applicable to, where we can't swap, that we were saying that we couldn't do what this gentleman was projecting. If it could be, well, this town, we're swapping this public property for that public property, if that could help.
I don't know the answer to that. We'd have to find that out.
So I'm just throwing that out there. The last time I had a question afterwards that I forgot. So when we talk about that the town engineer did studies, traffic studies and impact studies, how come those are not published? Where do we have his findings and results of those studies?
First, let me point out, he did not do a traffic study. All he did was an environmental study of just the distance to the brook from where we would be. He did not give us he did not give us a written report. It was just a verbal that, he looked at it and he is satisfied that it meets all the DEP regulations.
Right, and I question his qualifications. For instance, were soil borings done anywhere in that parking lot so that we know that that can sustain, as well as the roads in front of it? When I mentioned that these roads were built to residential traffic patterns, not like the county highways, not like Ridgewood Road or Pascack. It's not the same of having your garbage truck that comes twice a week up and down, or for the occasional snowstorm that comes up and down. We're talking about half of the fleet twice a day, at least, or you're saying sometimes they may have to go back in. If that's sustained back and forth, if that can be supported. We know that it's close to a stream. How far down is the water table? Can this be, a sinkhole that we're creating that could happen? When we talk about, so for me, I'm questioning, A, the engineer's credentials, B, to what extent his report was that both that parking lot and Devon and the end of Woodfield, which are paved residential standards, has the Department of Transportation been contacted to see if we met those standards? My guess is no.
Well, the
And I
Department of Transportation doesn't have any jurisdictions on our local streets.
No, they don't have any jurisdiction, but they have the knowledge. And
Yeah,
they,
but our engineer is, I've known Mr. Beckmeyer a long time. He is more than well qualified to make that. And I know I'm speaking for the mayor's employee, but I think he's more than qualified
so
to
soil
make that
bearing tests were
determination.
done,
I can't answer that, Mr. Mayor. I
the
don't,
water table depth was checked,
There was,
infrared sonar was,
Right.
water seeking table sonar was done?
I don't believe any of that was done as far as the parking lot goes, because it hasn't had those issues in the past to our knowledge. And again, I assume that, and again, I hate to use the word assume, but, they have been paved to vehicle standards. I know there's a difference between heavy vehicles and light vehicles. And again, if the roads outside of Bethany are impacted, I'm sure when the lease is done, we'll look at it. If the council agrees that anything has been done, we'll certainly fix the damage, repave the roads.
Right, but we could be opening ourselves up for sinkholes.
I'm not an engineer, so I really don't want to answer that.
Right, and that's
Yeah.
why I was asking about the studies and that was done and the qualifications, because these are the sorts of things that are done when someone is looking to develop a piece of property
well, I
or
mean,
use a piece of property. That property was not developed to handle heavy machinery on a constant traffic basis, nor was Woodfield Road, Devon, or the other adjacent roads. None of them, they were built to DOT standards, had to have been. But if the DOT is not contacted to find out if that parking lot and those streets were met to those standards, we are opening ourselves up for a big whole nightmare. I mean, just look at the bridge in front of the library on Woodfield. how that's crumbling in disrepair and being washed out. It's been, at times, you can see the concrete falling away. The house on Woodfield that's right by the stream, you can see their property falling into the stream. These are things that I don't know if the town engineer is qualified or if he took all the steps that he could have taken to properly assess that Bethany and that location and that entrance is suitable.
Well, the trucks currently go up and down Hudson, which is the same material, the same build as what's on Woodfield and Devon, and there's no issues on Hudson. I understand what you're saying.
But the water table at Hudson is not the same as the water table.
I don't know the answer to what you're asking because I've not studied that.
Okay, but just geographically, Hudson's here,
I
Woodfield's here.
I understand,
You
but
know,
I don't know the answer to that. So I hear your statement, but I'm just saying the depth of both is the same, and they go up and down Hudson every day, and they go down Woodfield all the time also when they do have to perform services on that street.
Right, when they going down it for a repair, going down it twice a week for the garbage trucks or the occasional snowstorm is not the same as half the fleet, 3/4 of the fleet, whatever it is, that heavy twice a day or more if they've got to come in and do whatever leaf transfer on a sustained basis on something that is that close to the water is, I think it's irresponsible of the town engineer and information that should be looked into and shared.
Thank you.
And then as far as
You have 1 minute left, Ms.
all
Sarah.
right, but the other issues is that, here we are having an open meeting and we're asking questions and we've been repeatedly told that, oh, that's Mr. DiCarlo, but Mr. DiCarlo's not here. Why didn't we schedule the meeting to when Mr. DiCarlo was here? Why is the town engineer not here? Why is a member of DPW who can answer some of the questions that Mayor, and Mayor Calamari shouldn't know the inner workings of every single thing that the DPW does and doesn't do. But the Summit representative from the DPW could tell these things. So I just ask that if we have another open forum about this, that we have the people who can answer the questions that are being asked available to answer them.
Thank you.
Cynthia Clark, C-L-A-R-K, 53 Stratford.
Hold on. Oh, I'm sorry.
Do you want to mention that the league is this week, and that's why, like, Sue's not here? and
Oh.
Sue's not here.
The mayor just wanted to remind everybody, the League of Municipalities is occurring this week, and a lot of our employees are down at the league already, so that's why they're not here.
But we could have scheduled it for when they were here.
How
about December 2nd?
December 2nd, I believe,
They'll be here. and-
they'll be,
Yeah.
the mayor said they will be here.
Mr. DiCarlo and Sue will be here.
What about,
Yeah.
are we going to ask the engineer and the DPW superintendent?
I'd have to check their schedule. I mean, I know that they're going to be at the next meeting. I'd have to check those other people's commitments.
Will they be prepared to answer the questions that I asked?
You can't, yeah.
I'm sorry, but you're still talking about it.
Yeah.
I wrote them down, and so even if they're not here, I will ask them and have an answer. You're welcome.
Go ahead.
Okay, I have a number of questions.
Can you just state your name first?
Cynthia Clark, C-L-A-R-K, 53 Stratford. I have a number of questions. I'd like answers as I ask them. How many pieces of equipment, just in estimate, do you anticipate housing at Bethany?
Just trying to think, just give me a few seconds. I would say, of all different sizes or just major
equipment.
I mean, I can't really answer as far as number of snow plows and little equipment like that. Larger equipment like trucks, I would say plus or minus 30.
Okay, with regard to the snow plows, since they will be housed there as well and will likely be going out in the middle of the night as they do now. Is that accurate?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Where will the salt and the brine be housed?
Salt, we were able to make an arrangement with the county that they are storing our salt for the time being.
And the brine?
Brine, I think we store in our own truck because we purchase it off-site and it is stored in the brine truck.
And the brine truck will be
Over-
in Bethany?
Correct.
What was the date that the letter of intent for this lease was signed?
I don't know that there is a letter of intent.
Okay, if you could clarify the exact term of the lease, is it 12 months with a 6-month extension or 18 months?
It's 18 months.
Okay. And how many extensions does the lease allow for, and what would be the time period of those extensions?
There are 0 extensions built in.
And when is construction on the DPW building to begin?
In December.
Is that hard and fast? It will start in December?
Yes, the construction company is virtually ready to start now.
And you said that you have financing for that. So has the timeline allowed for the construction, the financing construction inspection for each additional tranche of financing that's provided? Because typically that slows up construction, at least by a week.
I'm quite sure that we have already bonded for the whole project and have the money on hand.
Okay. And when do you anticipate beginning to pay rent on this Bethany lease?
The start of operation there, whenever that is, that date is to be determined.
Okay. Okay. Was there a separate written agreement for the leasehold improvements that we have already paid for?
No, there is not.
Okay. Given that there was no separate letter of agreement, no letter of intent, no lease signed, based on my prior experience with lease improvements, those leasehold improvements are now the property of Bethany. So how, if you can just clarify for me, how it is going to be written into the lease that Bethany is required to allow us to return their now property to the condition that it was in originally?
Siobhan, am I allowed to disclose that since it's in a working document that we are going?
Can you repeat the question? I don't understand it.
I said that the leasehold improvements that amount to $58,000 were done based on my understanding of the answers that I have received today. There was no letter of intent. There was no separate letter of agreement. Typically, under lease laws, we did it without, that is the property of Bethany now.
Well, just understand, if I can just clarify the premise of the question. I understand what you're saying. In typical leases, there's fit up done to the property itself, improvements made, construction. These types of improvements are solely to the benefit that have been done, or solely to the benefit of the township, and need to be removed actually at the end of the lease term in any event. So these are not permanent improvements that.
There is no lease in place. The improvements took place. They are Bethany's improvements. They own those now. So what induces them to give up the benefit of those improvements?
I don't think they want them, ma'am. I think.
But you don't know.
Well, I can be pretty sure because they've insisted they be removed as part of their lease.
Except right now, the part of the fence that they want to stay. So what if they change their minds and they decide they want the gate? They want the driveway. It's their property. Okay. Just to Mr. Smige's point about vermin, I have lived here 23 years in the same home. I never had any issues. During the paving, I had 2 mice. With regard to, I think it was Mr. Romeo's and Mr. Stickles' concerns about safety, I'm not a big woman getting off a bus one night, having immediately gotten off the bus. I was almost hit by the bus because the driver did not see me. Despite my size, I am larger than most children. I believe this is an extraordinary, and the trucks are much larger than a bus. I believe this is an extraordinary burden on our DPW. I have seen bus drivers who have hit and hurt people, and they are never the same. And I think this is an issue beyond pedestrians and children. I think it is about our workers. And with regard to our workers, I have a question for everyone on the dais. How many of you, and I will make it relevant, how many of you have ever seen a UPS truck make a left turn or a U-turn? You've never seen one ever once in your life. Is that accurate?
I can't answer that.
Okay. Has anyone in this audience ever seen a UPS driver make a left turn? Okay. According to UPS HR policy, they are prohibited from making U-turns. They are prohibited from making left turns. It's considered to be more efficient. They do, in fact, make U-turns and left turns. I asked a UPS driver and he laughed at me. He said, I simply cannot get my route done and get my deliveries made if I follow all the rules. I believe we are also placing an unfair burden on our DPW workers to say you can't go down Woodfield, you have to make sure you're careful of children. I believe it is an impossible ask. Not that I am inviting more trucks on Woodfield. I am saying this is an untenable location for the work that we are expecting our people to do. Thank you.
Would anybody else like to come up?
How are you? Glenn Bartlett, I live at 2472
You
Cleveland.
said Bartlett?
Yes, Bartlett.
Thank you, Mr. Bartlett.
I just had a couple questions for the township attorney and for the mayor. And I have a career.
Can you speak into the microphone, please?
Sure.
Thank you.
Can you hear me better? So I work in land use and real estate and deal a lot with flood hazard plains and certain areas of C1 riparian rights. And I just had a question if you guys file the proper DEP freshwater permits or flood hazard permits that would be made necessary for anything 300 feet past the C1 stream?
My understanding in speaking with the administrator that there is no requirement from the DEP. He's checked that, the engineer has checked that, but they will be available on December 2nd at the public hearing, the evidentiary hearing for this ordinance, to answer that and any other questions that you may have.
Understandable, okay. Well, I live on the opposite side. If I do anything to my home and anything that's within 300 feet or any structure, it's required. So I would say, can I ask the question, are you guys speaking directly with the DEP or do you have a hired representative?
Yes, this is understand this is an existing parking lot. So there's, I don't believe there's any encroachment into the
It's more
buffer.
about the curb cuts. The curb cuts and actually.
Okay, yeah,
The
you know what, again, it's, my understanding is that the engineer has looked at this. Mr. DiCarlo, the township administrator, has spoken directly with DEP. And they have satisfied themselves that those have been, complied with in every respect. But again, you deserve a full answer to the question at the evidentiary hearing on this ordinance.
Okay. Well, I guess then my main thing just to say is that I feel like I know you guys have the best interest in trying to help the community, but I feel like I have to speak more to the people of this room, and I really do love the turnout that came, and I feel like the only route for everybody here is to kind of go more of the direction of speaking to any of the board members at Bethany. And with speaking to board members at Bethany, I think that sooner than later, they'll come to the realization of what this will do to the deterioration of their value of their property. To answer the question of the last person who was up here, speaking of Valley National Bank, the reason why there'd be no consideration to do anything there would be because you are heavily impacting the value of any truly developmental aspect you could do down the road. They'd have to do a phase 1, phase 2, and to follow that question at OLGC specifically, even at the next person who goes, there will be environmental testing that will have some impact that will come out environmentally. So why do that temporarily at another site when it's already most likely heavily impacted as it is? I spoke to Mr. DiCarlo today, and he specifically said to me that there would be no salt use, there would be no changing of oil, and then actually hearing from the mayor today about some type of possible lawnmower repair or even salt storage, even leaf transfer, debris that comes down and that sits on the roadway can be considered to be contaminated material. So really my question is if you see that impact that could come there, how can the property owner and the board here or anybody who negotiated the deal not be legally liable for the actual value that will impact them? Because if they're not able to use it as it is after the fact, it's going to heavily impact anybody looking to do what they, obviously their highest and best use would be to develop in the future.
I'm not understanding your question, Mr. Bartley. The future would be to restore it back to the parking lot that it is and going to remain.
That one lot, though, out of 2 areas in town is almost designated in the master plan for redevelopment. Is that correct?
It is an overlay zone, but the whole entire lot is an overlay zone. It is not, it is one lot.
I understand that. I'm not saying it's 1 lot or 2 lots, but is in the master plan, is it not designated for redevelopment?
It's designated as an overlay zone.
Okay.
For affordable housing.
For
affordable housing, which
Yeah.
is essentially, as people may not know here, that's basically being designated for redevelopment or to be an area.
Well,
where
no, it's
development-
not being designated for redevelopment. It's just being designated as an overlay zone. It gives the
To build
owners,
affordable housing.
if the owners decide in the future that they could recoup all their money by doing something differently and they have the ability to use the overlay zone that's permitted there.
And then what about your parking ratio and parking requirements for the square feet of the Bethany now? Taking out that many parking spots, wouldn't that change their current use, or wouldn't they have to reapply for a variance for the amount of parking spots they have to what's there now?
No, the municipalities have broad discretion and flexibility when it comes to serving the public and meeting their needs. So that is why the municipal land use law, although it provides broad authority for municipalities to impose zoning variances, bulk variances, all of that on its citizens, it does not impose the same obligations on the municipality itself. So that use is not triggering any obligation when it comes to zoning issues.
I live directly on the path there, and I can't even explain the amount of traffic and the amount of people that literally come from other areas to park there and to walk around that very well popular known path. And that's a true highlight of this town. And I work in real estate in this town, and I feel like that is a true feature of everyone in the community here. And doing this temporarily in that time, even though it's 18 months, which most likely in any building procedure could be longer, just as the fire department as an example, I just feel like you can't even put how impactful that could really be. You're truly taking away that whole area. So again, all I say is that I don't think that there could be anything reached in reason. If there's no environmental concerns that can be reason to not do this, the only thing I could say that I feel like will help all the residents is go to Bethany, talk to some of the board members at Bethany. I myself spoke with them today, and they said they haven't heard from any residents or have any concern. But also I want to ask is, in the lease that you guys have, speaking with them, I don't feel like you guys are being as transparent as you can be about the time that it starts and really what it is. Is that something that you guys aren't allowed to disclose to us? Or even if I know the information of it, I'm not allowed to say publicly here?
You mean the commencement date of the lease?
Correct.
It won't commence until the municipal process in passing the ordinance. So that is why it.
Sure, maybe the board member that I spoke to today was misunderstood, but he seemed to think that it has a December 1st start.
Maybe that's his anticipated date. I'm not
It
sure.
can't be a December 1st start because the meeting is on December 2nd. So I don't know if he is just ballparking the date.
Sure.
But if it has to pass, yeah.
I was going to say that I think that when you guys did that lease, maybe that consideration of December 2nd wasn't in place, but that's what he said to me. I'm not sure, but again, just to any of the residents, I think the best course of action would be to go directly to talk to Bethany, because they are and have become a main community staple of our area. And I feel like the voices that need to be heard need to be more towards them. And I don't feel like there could be any good results that could come. But thank you guys for your service.
Thank you, Mr. Bartley. Would anybody else like to come up at this time?
Just to clarify the question?
Sure, Mrs. Roman.
Linda Romeo, 282 Woodfield. What's an overlay zone?
It is, you want to answer that?
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. You're the attorney.
All right. As you probably have heard, the New Jersey state legislature has imposed on every municipality in the state of New Jersey an obligation to not only zone for a yield of a specific number of affordable housing units, but also if they can't zone because there's not a lot of developable property, which is typical of towns like Washington Township, which are almost fully developed, that it overlays certain already developed properties so that in the event it does turn over and is sold at some point, the property owner can sell to a developer, and these are the the zoning that it would enjoy. So it can sell to a developer and yield affordable housing. It does not require a property owner to ever sell their property or develop it in a certain way or sell it to anybody in particular. But these are obligations imposed upon the state of New Jersey. There's been a lot of pushback from this township in particular in joining the consortium of other municipalities throughout the state to oppose this really difficult, I'll put it mildly, legislation that has been imposed upon towns like this to come up with a number of affordable units that just is not realistic. And I know the townships, the mayor has been fighting that, the council is on board with that, and we're doing everything we can to push back on that. But long story longer, that is what an overlay zone is. It's currently a state mandated, if and when they want to sell to somebody, this is the amount of units they can put there.
And to be clear, it was that back part of Bethany that's the overlay zone?
The whole property.
The whole property is overlaid.
The whole property?
Yes.
So if Bethany sold to somebody else, they could then become affordable housing?
Correct.
But not necessarily?
Let's clarify.
Not completely.
They're not going to build 500 affordable housing units. They have the opportunity to develop, because they're going to want to develop at market rate to recover. They are mandated to include a percentage of affordable housing units. So it is a lever that builders will use to develop those types of properties, because they will say that we are going to assign a certain number as affordable. So it's not 100% affordable. That's not the point. The point is that it allows builders to build at a certain density and include an affordable housing element. So it's an overlay zone that allows for the addition or the inclusion of affordable units.
Okay.
So I think we should be clear, because we say affordable housing, like we're going to put up some type of tenement or, row houses.
I appreciate the concept. And so, but I do thank you for clarifying that. The egress onto Woodfields, well, I guess that would depend if that ever came to be, so we can fight that later. Also, to clarify another point, the evidentiary meeting is on December 2nd. Directly within that meeting or after that meeting would be the vote on this?
Just like it was at the last meeting, it'll be the same.
Yeah, and that kind of didn't feel right to me either, because you heard all the objections and then didn't have time to act on any of our objections and then voted. So now we're saying that there'll be an evidentiary meeting on December 2nd, at which time the engineer will be there, the DPW guy.
Oh, again, the mayor.
No,
it's up to
that the mayor
They're here.
assured, has said that he will arrange for those people to be there to answer the questions that are coming up tonight, but then the vote would happen right then. So even if the answers that we get do not appease or sit well or, well, we just don't like them, that they don't, their answers, but they still require further work, you're still going to vote that night without having an opportunity to address it.
Unless it's tabled or changed, we will vote that night.
Right, but the lease starts when,
The lease starts when the
but the
vote is.
building starts in December.
No,
Well, the
Yes,
building's
correct.
going to start in December.
The new building here.
Where, yeah, the building here is
The
going to start.
contractor is ready to.
Right, so the likelihood of the vote not happening on December 2nd, I think would be low. So I'm just curious as to the timing of that. That just, it goes back to my point that if this was discussed with us up front, focus group findings would have revealed all of these things, and we wouldn't be standing here. You've done a lot of work and you've put a lot of thought into it and so on, but we weren't represented, and now we feel like we're speaking into the darkness because the vote is still going to happen, no matter what findings we get that night, no matter what we find out about the water table or the environmental stuff or the DPW operations or anything else. So it goes back to trust, transparency, communication. This is a small town that we love. This is a part of the town that we love, a part of the town that gives value to not only my home, but everybody else that uses it. This is a safety issue. There's so many things that just aren't sitting right, and I'm so sorely disappointed.
You have 30 seconds.
Okay,
I'm
my
sorry.
30 seconds are, at the very least, we have to egress through Pascack Road. That would answer a lot of the safety concerns. It's not going to answer the environmental concerns, but hopefully there aren't any. But at the very least, that has to happen.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Mary Roth, 119 Woodfield Road. I just want.
ROTH?
ROTH, yes.
Thank you.
Not ROSS. I just want to build on to what Kathy had mentioned. If we don't do any sampling of the soil near the brook or in the parking lot, what's to stop Bethany to come back to us after this whole lease is done, if there's contamination, and coming back to us and implying that it is our fault? Is there something in the lease that's going to hold us harmless for any contamination that may happen in that parking lot? I'm concerned about the brook. We live on the lake, and I'm concerned about the contamination that could potentially happen from whatever activities could happen in that parking lot, and that contaminating the lake. And then how does that impact our home value and the value of the whole entire lake association? I am extremely concerned about the safety on the road. I walk around the lake constantly. I was walking around the lake today, and the DPW people were over on Colonial still picking up leaves well after 3:30. So I don't know about the timing of when things are going to be happening. The other question I have, the main question I also have is, will these trucks and this heavy equipment, other than servicing Woodfield Road, will they be going down the length of Woodfield Road constantly from Ridgewood to the DPW site here? Maybe I didn't read what their path of egress is going to be, going out to Pascack or going out to Ridgewood. But are they going to be allowed to come the length of Woodfield Road on a constant basis? Because I do believe that those roads were not built for that. The road is narrow, the trucks are large, and just today, the DPW trucks and the front end loader were speeding down Woodfield Road. And I constantly have the argument. I come to town meetings. I was here a couple of weeks ago and we were talking about parking boats in the side yards, about the speed on Woodfield Road. I was away and I did hear that they put some speed signs up or tracking the signs. But I have a big concern about the speed of heavy trucks when they're not servicing, plowing the road or picking up the leaves on Woodfield Road, and are they going down Devon? I don't know, the length of Devon. I mean, what is the egress that they're going to be using as a practice in this area? Has that been determined? I think someone mentioned that they
It
would.
was determined and discussed at the last meeting, Mr. Mayor. I think it's
Yes,
from PASCAC.
unfortunately, I'm not recalling it right now, so if anyone else does, please feel free to chime in. Like you, Mike, I remember it was spoken about. Mr. DiCarlo would have the answer to that. I just don't want to misstate anything.
The intent is not to go up and down what you just said, Mrs. Roth.
I believe it was a right out of the parking lot
Correct.
around Woodfield, and I forget what that first right is.
Oxford, thank you, Oxford.
That's what I believe Mr. DiCarlo said.
That was the route.
That was the route that was set at the last meeting, Mr. Roth.
I mean, I think you should go back to the engineer and really, the attorney should really look at what the potential down the road, if there's any environmental spills, do we have an environmental response plan in place? That if something were to happen, all the brine flows out of the truck or whatever, do we have something in place before we even take possession of this property?
I can tell you, we do have an environmental response plan in place for our existing DPW. I believe most, if not all of that, would just carry through to the new location, regardless of the proximity of the brook. There are just certain things that have to be done. And so we have that in place. And again, by law, we're required to report any contamination to the DEP.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Roth. Good evening, Mr. Durso.
Hello.
Good, yourself?
Hi, Joe Durso, D-U-R-S-O, 12 Viola Terrace. I was driving home from work. I was listening to this on YouTube. I haven't been here in a while, but I don't know who it was. Somebody was mentioning land swaps or with Valley Bank. To my knowledge, I think Valley Bank, I know there's a plan in place. Supposedly the bank is closing 12/31. There's development that I believe the planning board put through. So I don't think a land swap could possibly happen. Good idea, and it's not owned by Valley Bank. The property is privately owned through an LLC. I won't mention the names in public, but it's not owned by Valley Bank, to my knowledge. So I did check on it because I live on Viola, which affects me with whatever project they're going to do. And I do appreciate everybody's concern here about Bethany and opening up. I drove past there over the weekend, or Sunday, got this big black thing on the fence. It looks horrible, in my opinion, but, and I feel bad for everybody here because it's called NIMBY. Nobody wants it in their backyard. I faced it years ago with the cell phone tower. I didn't want that ugly tower, but then again, I'd be hypocritical. We all use cell phones, so it's there. But my question is, first of all, Valley Bank, you really brought it up, somebody brought it up, it is an overlay property now, correct? It wasn't switched from Stone Mill Gardens to, it wasn't?
No, Stone Mill still has it.
So Stone Mill still is the original overlay along with Bethany?
That is correct.
Okay, so you hear rumors, this town's full of rumors, but I guess my only other question really is, was there any, and I get the people, they're very upset because it's going to go in there for a year and a half. Was there any consideration discussing with Paramus or Westwood temporarily? Because they have the properties where you could store your trucks. I mean, it looks like an eyesore at the church. I'm sure these people aren't going to like, trucks back there, noises back there and everything. I'm sure, I know the swim club, you can't put it on there because I believe it's Green Acres now.
That's correct.
450 PASCAC.
There's Green Acres also.
That's considered Green Acres now. Okay, so you really can't touch. So I understand their concern, but was there any discussion with, I know Hillsdale has issues with DPW. Westwood, big property. Paramus, even bigger, right down the road. Was there any consideration?
The council had asked the mayor did reach out to Westwood. I know they had meetings, right, Mr. Mayor? I want to speak for you.
Yes, we did have a conversation with Westwood. It did not yield anything positive.
In Paramus?
Paramus, we did not.
Yeah, so I'm just saying, I know it's 2 miles down the road. It could have been, but those are things I question. Nobody wants it in their backyard. It's, this is why you have a crowd here tonight.
Absolutely.
I feel bad for everybody. I feel bad for myself because supposedly I'm getting a 6-building project, 100 feet down from where I live up on the hill. My neighbors who their backyards abut to that property. It's a shame. And I know you can't stop affordable housing. This town, the state just throws it down our throats. Why I'm here, I know it's totally differently subject. What's going on at Fillmore for those poor people? Horrible planning. Should have never happened. That property should have been more towards the parkway. You're building a building in somebody's backyard. It's called planning. I mean, better planning should have to happen in this town before you just move forward. So that's all I'm saying. And again, I appreciate everybody coming out and fighting and talking, but Paramus probably would have been a good idea.
Thank you, Mr. Durson.
Can I just comment on? I doubt the bank is closing on the 31st because I'm a customer there. I don't know how many of you, but they would have to send us notice by law that branch is closing. So, and I haven't heard them say that at all, Joe. And I know the company you're referring to, I believe that Valley purchased that company from Oritani when they did everything. So I know the company name you're referring to. Yeah, right, yeah. But I think Valley, when they purchased Oritani, purchased that company name and therefore that property.
So like I said, it's a small town, so.
Yeah.
Would anybody else like to come up at this time? Go ahead, sir.
Thanks. Greg Massey, 227 Devon, MASSE. I wasn't going to speak. I wasn't going to come. My friends urged me. I live on Devon Road, right by, kind of center. I have a question, and I don't want you guys to take this the wrong way. Do anybody on the council or anybody making these decisions live near Bethany or on Woodfield or on Stratford or on Devon? So it doesn't affect anybody really on the council that's making this decision. It affects us as neighbors, people that walk all the time, walk our dogs, walk through school walk. I walk down the street to go to A&P, well, Food Town now, and, Doghouse and whatever. A few years ago, they put up a fence, safety for the kids, not coming out. Then they put up a gate. Then they put up a chain link fence that goes across. And on that chain link fence is a gate, but they paddled it. So now you got to walk all the way around, so you're near the street or you're near the egress. Imagine coming out of school walk, kid on a bike. They fly out, it's a nice quiet street. Without it, it doesn't go through. So you have a little bit of safety. Imagine 30 trucks at some point coming in and out at all times, maybe morning, afternoon, when school gets out, 3:30, like.
May I interrupt you just for, when I said 30 trucks, that was just how many were going to be stored there.
Right.
That many will not be coming and going every day. We
Right.
have a lot of equipment that is seasonal that will be.
Understood,
per month.
but the trucks
I
are going
just
to
wanted
be
to make
coming
sure.
in and out of there
Yeah.
at points during the day when children could be, affected by it. So my point is, was any of that taken into consideration when it was decided to put it here? The logical thing is to go Pascack Road. I know, I read in the article that they said that was a game changer. That's a stopper. Again, and it's been said, if I was on the council, I would have said, well, we're giving you all this money, we're making these improvements, we're doing this for you. You give us this because it's on a main road and it's not affecting the safety of our residents. So, again, it was said to go back, and you said that you will, and ask them, and, it's appreciated. But I have one more speak. Maybe I didn't. It just seems that it was the transparency, not the way this progressed. I think it's making a lot of people upset. And as a town that you live in, that we pay taxes, DPW, you got to pay for your own garbage bags. I pay a lot of money for taxes. I still got to pay for bags, which I don't. I bring it to work because I refuse to, fall into that nonsense. But, the money that we're paying to live in this secluded little tranquil area, I pay for the lake association. I live a block off the lake. Does Bethany have any ties to the lake that they may or may not be affecting with the possible environmental? All these points are valid and should have been brought up and should have been collected and brought to the people prior to making the decision, prior to spending $60,000 on something that, now maybe you guys think about the things that we're saying, maybe it's not going to happen. So where's that $60,000 go? At the end of the lease, if Bethany, they don't want the gate there, who's paying for the removal of the gate?
We are.
The fence. Is that our taxpayers?
It's part of our agreement.
Right, so that's our taxpayers' money as well.
That's correct.
So I just wanted to bring those points up, and I appreciate your time and.
Thank you, Mr. Massey. You can't come back up, Mr. Bartlett, sorry. Yes, in the back.
Hi, Judy Guma, Guma.
Hi, Mrs. Guma.
Hi, how are you? 289 Woodfield Road. So I'm a resident of 30 years. We love our neighborhood. We love our town. Piggybacking on what everyone has said about the safety, how much consideration, not only for walkers, not only for other people from other towns, but there's 2 major elementary schools of Washington Township and 2 major ball fields. I live there. My house is the white fence. I'm outside every day. I see children every day. To think that this is occurring or may occur is mind-boggling. There's a young little girl right across the street. Yo, hi. Did you ever drive on Woodfield Road on the bend on a nice sunny day with one car? One car. Now picture it at night. Snowy, dark, with a big, big truck. And there could be people walking. I mean, this needs to be considered. This is residential. This cannot happen. In regard to the situation, when we got the letter, the few of us that got the letter so conveniently when Mr. DiCarlo came on or about the Friday of Labor Day, dated September 29th, and I brought this up last week, does not mention anything in the Township of Washington's letter about operations of leaves. And you know and I know, you go outside these piles, there are a lot of pumpkins. There's landscapers that throw their soda. I pick up. I care about the green area that the town so nicely built up. When those leaves get picked up, and there's garbage in between, and I'm the house right next door, and all my neighbors here. And there's Norway rats also in the lake. And now you're adding some more trash. That was not stated. And lastly, they talk about the lack of transparency and the lack of planning. In the Pascack Press, as for vehicle/equipment storage after the lease expires, DeCarlo said, there is no solid plan at this time. Calamari said post-lease storage needs would be addressed. Okay, so we saw what happened with this whole situation. So when will there be an address? So you go into an agreement, and then we were told that when the DPW is completed on Hudson, that there's not enough for these trucks. So back to the same question that all my neighbors have asked, what is the insurance? What's going to happen in 18 months when we're told, you know what? We're stuck. We have no other place. And it's worked out for now. So you know what? Maybe another 6 months. How do we know that? I know that you people are saying, yes, I agree. We don't know that for sure. And you know what? I'm sorry to say, with the lack of transparency and communication, I'm troubled. And I know that everyone here is troubled about that. And it's very concerning. You know what? Because we love our homes. We put a lot into our homes. If you go into that area, there's a lot of people that we have reinvested. And you know what? I'm not going to just talk about my home, but my home is elevated. My deck is going to overlook this. 3 of my bedrooms will overlook this. It doesn't mean anything to anyone here, but it should be a consideration about the safety and about the safety of Woodfield Road, making that bend with children. And it's a narrow bend. And that's on a good day with a car on a sunny day. So really, please consider this. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. You're next, sir.
Matthew Jacob, JSUOB.
Good evening, Mr. Jacob.
286 Woodfield Road. I was here last Monday, and I said, I'm going to repeat what I said. My driveway is blocking half of the gate that you have right behind me. I'm just going to speak on the safety thing, what some of my neighbors spoke. It's a scary prospect because the high school is down the block. You have a library. You have kids. I open my blinds at 6 in the morning. I've been living in this town for 4 years. There are people that comes all the way from River Edge, Paramus, and all around Washington Township that park their car right in front of the gate that you guys built and walk around the lake. And you said the trucks leave at 7 and come back at 3. That's the same time when kids from high school ride their bike around Devon or walk down Woodfield, use a path to cross around the lake. I have a daughter that's 8-year-old. Me and my wife has been speaking to her that she can't be riding the bike out because the truck's literally driving, like the gate that you have built is half my driveway. So I'm just going to speak on the safety concern. I'm not going to go into the whole thing, but I would humbly request you guys to please reconsider this whole thing. I feel like it's a serious, I'm not going to talk about the nighttime because you have the whole black thing around the gate. And I see people even at 8:30 in the night that park their car and walk around at 8:30 in the night. So I would humbly request you guys to please reconsider this whole thing. It's extremely dangerous. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jacob.
I have to just excuse myself for a couple minutes. I
We
apologize.
take a 5-minute break, Mr. Desailly.
I mean, if you want to continue.
No, go ahead.
But I apologize, but I have to take a 5-minute break.
Do you want to continue?
Can we wait? Because if you haven't.
Oh, I sincerely apologize.
Is this the same discussion?
Dassey, 246 Woodfield Road. Hello again. I was here last Monday. I want to thank Mr. DeSena for being the only one to vote no. And I hope after your hearing, all of these testaments about safety, environmental controls, and how it affects the real estate of our community, that you reconsider. We also haven't addressed, because you're talking about how these trucks will only be here from 7 to 3. Okay, school lets out in June. My kids, they're the boys with the fishing poles driving all around on their bikes with their friends to every field and basketball court. What's our plan with summer camp? Bethany hosts a very large summer camp that my children also attend with over 600 children. How are we going to keep those children safe? And are you okay if something happens to one of those children, knowing that all of these people that came again to express this, that you did not vote no? I understand that you already spent money, but we're spending so much more money to pay Bethany. Can we consider keeping the trucks at OLGC and then finding another place if we don't have room? I'm just saying, I don't know how many more people have to say the same thing. It's a big part of our town for this lake, this walking path, and for the safety. Nobody wants this. So if we could reconsider and push back the vote, or if we could vote no, like Mr. DeSena did, and preserve our town, preserve the values of our home, and keep the kids safe, then we can all work together to keep our town the way it is. Thank you.
Anybody else like to come up at this time? Seeing no one, motion to close the public. Oh, I'm sorry.
Carol Swain, 249 Woodfield Road,
Mrs. Swain, it's ZWA.
ZWAIN.
ZWAIN?
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I just want to say that I commend Stephanie DeSassi for coming up here and asking all of you to please consider voting this down. All of the people that are here in this audience tonight, and we were here last week as well, this is something that we do not want. We understand you've been frustrated, you haven't found a spot. You looked at the swim club, it didn't work out. You had residents there give you opposition. But in the meantime, the swim club is 6 acres of land. And I understand there are residents, but it's set back and it backs up to the parkway. That would have been the ideal location.
Unfortunately, Ms. Swain, when the previous council accepted the grant from the county for the swim club, it made it part of green space and green acres. Therefore, we are not allowed to park the vehicles like we were parking them, because before the vehicles were moved to OLGC, they were being stored there. And I believe we got a cease and desist letter, Mr. Mayor, to remove the vehicles from the property, from the county and Green Acres. Correct.
Let me ask you, can money be given back?
I wish it could.
And okay, so then we go back.
But we can't give it back.
We can't give it back, okay. So then we go back to the most logical of all of the solutions, and that is OLGC. We have been renting up there, and we have done it for many years. Our lease is coming due in December. We were paying $64,000 for 2 years. That is a big difference from what it is adding up to at Bethany, at almost 160, including the improvements that we've given them. I am asking you, we talked about transparency, that we should have open communication with our council, have faith in you, but you weren't transparent with us. You only went. And Mr. DiCarlo, even though he said 37 letters went out, I'm sorry, within 200 feet, there are maybe 7 houses. So the point is, what about the rest of us on Woodfield, on Devon, on Stratford, on on Finnerty? How come Oxford, you're affecting us, and on Cleveland Avenue? How you could have gone ahead and made improvements, cut a curb, put a driveway in, put a gate and a fence. How could you do that without a signed lease? We can't do work on our homes without having the proper paperwork. How did you do that? And I get it. You tried many places, but you don't look at us like we're the afterthought and sorry guys, but we had to choose your spot. Go back to OLGC. I don't care if they supposedly don't have enough spaces. Mr. Mayor, you just said we have 30 some odd vehicles. We are renting 30 some odd spaces there now. Okay, what are they gonna do? Put our vehicles there. Let your residents be happy. Let us enjoy our lives, our environment, our children to be safe. Everyone enjoys this area. It's just not fair, and I'm imploring you, please reconsider, vote this proposition, which has been very, very confusing. Last week, you voted, and then we find out in the newspaper, it wasn't a quorum. We don't know that. You know, we're novices. We don't come to every single meeting that you have. We trust you. We put our faith in you. Can you please show that we should put our faith in you? Give us something. Vote this down. Put that curb back. Put it all back in its natural way. And for these poor people that live across from there, our neighbors,
Put trees back there so they can be shielded the way they should be from the parking lot. It's not good enough to ask Bethany to go in through Pascack. It's not good enough. Because you might be setting a precedence. And one day, maybe they want to rent out their land for something else. No, we don't want something else. We don't even want this. So please, I'm asking you, reconsider. It's not good enough to hear that you fought for a 5K to be in our neighborhood. You like running there. You don't live there. We live on quiet streets. That's where we chose. We don't live on a main road, a main thoroughfare that has traffic like that. So please, I'm asking you to do the right thing for all of us, for our children, for all of the citizens of Washington Township.
Thank you, Mrs. Lynn. Good evening, Gavin.
Hi, my son here is just wanting to speak. My name is Jill Janos, 200 Devon Road. This is Gavin.
Good evening, Gavin and
He
Mrs.
has
Janos.
a thing that he wrote here while we were watching the meeting that he'd like to share.
Thank you. Go ahead, Gavin.
I don't think you should do this because I bike every day in the summer and around the area of Bethany all the time. I don't want to have to worry about getting hit by a truck that is coming out of nowhere that can't see me. I also fish a lot around the lake, and I don't want the risk of the water getting polluted and not being able to fish. Also, I always see people walking around that area at all times of the day. I do not think you should do this because,
Take your time, Gavin. You got this.
kids are walking home from school when they're leaving and coming home. Long story short, I don't think you guys should do this because it doesn't benefit anybody in any way.
That's right.
That's it.
Thank you, Gavin.
This is the face of the community. These are the children that are there all the time. And while we as parents always wish that they are being safe, sometimes they are not. And the amount of times you tell your drivers to be safe, obviously they're not looking to hit children riding their bikes, but accidents do happen. And this is a very real concern and a very, very, very heavily pedestrian trafficked and bike trafficked pathway. And it's very upsetting to people. And also, my other question, and I don't know if you can answer it too, is the DEP even aware that we are wanting to park trucks here? Because my concern is this is a C1 waterway. There's a lot of restrictions about what can happen there. And obviously this parking lot must have been grandfathered in because it is 30 feet in some areas. I checked on Google Earth. So while that's not 100% accurate, the parking lot is about 30 feet from this stream. Parking a truck that close to a stream that is a C1 waterway is a very serious environmental concern. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Janos. Would anybody else like to come up this time? Motion to close the public portion of the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Ordinances, introduction, first reading, ordinance number 25-25, an ordinance authorizing entry into a lease agreement with Bethany Church. Motion to introduce and pass ordinance number 25-25 at first reading by title. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilman Sears,
Yes.
Councilman Owen,
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez,
Yes.
Council President DeSena.
No. Resolution number 25-348, authorizing publication of ordinance number 25-25 and scheduling a public hearing. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilman Sears,
Yes.
Councilman Owen,
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez,
Yes.
Council President DeSena.
No. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next meeting of the Township Council will be held on Tuesday, December 2nd at 2025, beginning at 7 p.m. Sign up for Nixle, text 07676 to 888-777. Thank you, everyone.